Well, if you've been to an HR conference, our MC for the 2017 North America iTalent competition needs no introduction, but I want to tell you more about Johnny Campbell and Social Talent. Johnny is the founder and CEO of Social Talent, a company that has the lofty ambition to improve the productivity of every professional worker in the world with better knowledge, tools, and data to be better at what they do. Everyone has to start somewhere, so Johnny and his team have started with recruiters, and so far they've turned nearly 15,000 recruiters and salespeople from companies like Microsoft, Intel, GE, Manpower, Randstad, and Adecco into ninjas. Yes, ninjas, folks. Kevin Blair, director of TA at Cisco, describes the platform as just like Netflix for learning. The company's platform is used in over 90 countries by more than 1,000 companies, and their blog is read by nearly 100,000 recruiters and salespeople every week. Johnny's wife and family still think he finds people jobs, and his 3 kids think he is a trained assassin. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Johnny is a good friend of mine. You know what they say about the Irish. I've had the pleasure to spend time with his friends and family in Irish and live to talk about it. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend and our MC for iTalent, Johnny Campbell.
Good afternoon, everyone. This iTalent competition stands between you and a stiff drink. And a comedy club and lots of entertainment later on. Folks, this is my favorite part of the HRO Today Forum competition. This competition we've been doing in the US and Europe for many years and produced some fascinating companies who've gone on to amazing success. And we have some fantastic companies with you tonight. HR technology is completely transforming our sector, so much so that we don't even notice it anymore. There are apps and products and tools that we use in our businesses every day to do what we do better with our people. And when they fail, we demand faster, immediate, all this technology available at our fingertips. And we forget the days of resumes being printed. I saw a printed resume on the desk of a recruiter today. It's the first time I've seen a printed resume on a desk in years. And you forget how far we've come, and the companies that start off so small that become either part of much larger organizations or on their own stand up and become major players in our industry. We're hoping we're going to see a few of those here tonight. So I want to introduce you to the finalists for the iTalent competition tonight. If we can flick on the deck. Do I have? Oh, I have it here. I'm in charge of this. Let me do this. We've got eight fantastic companies competing tonight. So what we're going to do, guys, and please do enjoy this. This is the part of the night where you get to hopefully not pick on these 8 wonderful people, but you get to participate. So we're going to ask you to pay attention, and you're going to vote along with our judges later on at the end of this session. So each of these 8 finalists has 5 minutes to pitch. All right? And if you've ever seen America's Got Talent, they only have 5 minutes. And it's going to be tough. These 4 judges here, which I'll introduce you to in a second, are going to put them through their paces, ask them the tough questions. And if we have time, I'm going to put it out to the audience to ask any questions you have of them. And at the very end, we're going to ask you to participate by voting on Twitter as well for the company you believe is going to be the best HR technology going forward. So tonight we've got 2 categories. So a slight change from previous years. We've got 8 fantastic organizations, and 4 of those are in the recognition space and 4 in the talent acquisition space. So we're actually going to award 2 prizes tonight for the top organization in the reward space and the top in the talent acquisition software space. So these guys are going to introduce themselves, and they'll have 5 minutes and 5 minutes only, and we're going to cut their mic at the end of that timer, and the timer here is below me to make sure that they keep to their times. So please stick with them. We're looking for rating on 4 kind of core areas. I'd ask you to try and give them some ratings on this as well. One is on innovation. So is this an innovation? Is this a change from what we have? Is it showing something new? Remembering, it doesn't have to be a brand new technology. It could be an existing technology used in a new way. The business relevance. So this is, does it solve a problem? So ask yourselves, do I have this pain? Do I know people with this pain? And is this something that people actually will pay money to solve? The global effectiveness, is this something that is scalable? Will lots of organizations around the world, lots of HR and recruiting teams want this? And or is it just a local problem being solved? And then, of course, the quality of the actual pitch itself. Is this a credible person who's putting this idea forward? As we all know, the best ideas don't always win. It's how it's pitched, because that's what's going to happen day after day as this is pitched to potential customers and users to make sure it works. So innovation, business relevance, global effectiveness, and quality of pitch. They're going to be the areas that we score each of these on. Or you can just pick the person you like the most. That make sense? Are we still awake for this? You're all right? Okay, as long as you're up for it. So last year in Chicago, the Muse, represented by founder and CEO Catherine Minshew, presented here in early May and won the competition. The Muse went on to close a funding round a month later of about $14 million. I'm not saying it was directly because of the HRO Today event, but the publicity that winning at an event like this gets for an organization cannot be underestimated. It's fantastic exposure in terms of organizations trying to get funding amongst VCs and potential customers, and trade coverage both through HRO Today Forum and other outlets who pick up these stories. So it is a big deal for these companies, and it's a big deal for getting your name out there. So the Muse are continuing to do wonderful things as a result of winning last year. So we've got 4 judges. One of our judges couldn't make it tonight, but we've got 4 fantastic judges. Well, 3 plus Elliot. Is that all right with you, Elliot? Elliot's the toughest judge, typically, if you've seen this competition before. And we've got Brian, Elaine, and Bill as well, who are joining us today. So we've got analysts, VCs, and experts who talk to organizations about the experience that the candidates get from a recruitment point of view every single day, and get to see the technology that's really impacting that as well. So we're getting a lot of experience here to judge and understand what works and what doesn't work. And we've had a lot of our judges have come back many years to understand what's moving and shaking in this world. So we are tight for time, so I'm going to basically press on and get our competition started. So I would ask for silence and respect for the presenter for the 5 minutes that they are presenting for. Judges, I would ask you to wait at the end for your questions. You guys love to ask lots of great questions. Please make them short. I'm going to give you maximum 90 seconds in total to ask questions. So be respectful of the person beside you who may have a great question they really want to ask, to help them decide how to rank somebody. So nice short questions. I'm really talking to you, Elliot, on this, right? No soliloquies for 2 minutes. No.
For you, John, and why are you here?
It's Chicago. I like Chicago. It's good fun. So we're going to basically get started tonight, and I'm going to call out our first finalist tonight, who's going to be presenting, and each finalist has been given a set structure they need to present on, including a customer testimonial or case study as part of their presentation tonight. And to get us started, we've got the VP and General Manager of Mighty Recruiter, Nathan Brumby. Put your hands together, please.
Hello. So I have a couple of disadvantages. Number one, I didn't get out of bed this morning, so I've got to go first. I missed the 8 a.m. meeting. Secondly, through that door there, I know there's a bar, and I'm an Australian, and I'm as keen to get to the bar as all of you are. Trust me. In line with what was just said, we got asked to choose an example, a case study. And so we chose DocuSign. And the reason we chose them was very simple. Everyone knows who they are. But more importantly, they're recruiting in an incredibly competitive market, which is in the Valley. And they're recruiting against a lot of very good companies. I say that because the head of our headquarters is in San Francisco. We're doing the same thing. We'll go through. Karen. So Karen's a senior recruiter. She's up against a lot of very sophisticated recruiters. If you've been to SourceCon, you've heard all about the grandmasters and the ninjas and the gurus and all the cool things that they do. When we got involved with Karen, it was very simple. She started to talk to us about what it's like to recruit. You've got to be a digital marketer. And you've got to be a digital marketer because the world today is a lot different to find candidates. And then when you find them, you've got to be a lot more sophisticated in engaging them to get them into your business. So the world in this space is changing. So when she came and talked to us, there was a couple of things we talked about. Right today is the highest number of online job ads there's ever been since it's been recorded. Just under 6 million on a daily basis. There's 38 million job searches on average every month. across 25,000 job boards, and I'm talking only about the United States. That's it, just the United States. So if you're going to go out and hire someone, you want to be absolutely convinced your ad is going to be noticed. It has to be optimized. It's got to compete. It's got to be tailored to an audience. So we have a machine learning driven job ad writer and job ad checker. Number two is when you find those candidates, you want to be able to get through them very quickly and find your talent. And in part to do that, we have a machine learning capability around how to figure out how to post to those 25,000 job boards. Because they're all different, they all have different cohorts, they all have different financial models. So how do you figure out how to get through that and get to the optimal place? How do you do it like a digital marketer? So you understand how many views, how many clicks, and what your conversion rate is. And then finally, the worst thing that can happen is you can get lots of candidates because then you've got to work through them. So what we do is we have a whole lot of machine learning capability around how to match, how to rank, and then through pattern recognition, how to find similar resumes. So that's a little bit about us. To try and put us in the category, it's very simple. If you're a job board, if you're an applicant tracking system, if you're a type of a CRM, at the end of the day, all you are is a database designed to get candidates in, connect them to a job and manage them. Sounds brutal, but it's actually true. And the change that's going on in the industry is how all that's coming together. So I'll hand over to Karen. She's got a 90-second video, and I'll let her talk.
I'm Karen, and I'm a senior recruiter at DocuSign. While DocuSign has a very strong brand, our headquarters are located in San Francisco. It's one of the most difficult markets to recruit in the world. Even if you have a strong brand, some positions are going to be hard to fill regardless. What intrigued me about Mighty Recruiter is the ability to post your positions in multiple venues as a one-stop sourcing and recruiting platform. It saves time and allows you to focus on talking to high-quality candidates and getting through that stack of applicants quickly. With their analytics, you're able to focus on spending your media dollars in the right places and maximize results. Bottom line, Mighty Recruiter has made my job easier.
So we've got 30 seconds to go. So bottom line with Mighty Recruiter, we've made a huge investment in machine learning. We're owned by a parent company that's the largest in the world in online job tools. So one of the things that we can talk about here, we have just over 20 million resumes just in the US, highly searchable, change out every 18 months. So going back to that idea of a database, we kicked that off with having a large passive pool of candidates. I'll leave it there. It's the 5 minutes.
Judges, any questions?
Well done. Quick question for you. What's my working experience as a recruiter? Is this a module API add-on to the ATS or other system that I'm working in, or am I resident in your system and I throw out whatever I'm on now?
Sorry, Nathan, you wouldn't mind using the mic just there.
So for large businesses, say over 1,000 people, we sit on the front of an ATS. For people under 1,000, they use us as their ATS. Okay. But again, as I made earlier, the whole dynamic is changing between job boards, applicant tracking systems, et cetera, et cetera. It's a fast-changing market now.
You have a very nice style, so I appreciate that. But I think in this space, if I was a VC looking for recruitment solutions, there's a lot of players out there, and almost everyone's saying pretty much the same thing. So in a limited amount of time, or maybe more a style, and I'll give you one more shot at this, but like, what is the single biggest differentiation you have? What's the game changer? What's the workforce or recruitment environment that you guys do the best in?
Yep.
And I would start with that right away, but maybe you can answer that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's how sophisticated can you be in the search matching and ranking of candidates, period. Fortunately, we don't need funding, so I'll pass up on that. But it's all about search matching and ranking, and to do that really well, you've got to have a fairly sophisticated underlying machine learning layer or a cognitive layer.
So then I would hit that vector technology really hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to shout because I think I can do that pretty well. You said that with the job ad writer,
Yep.
is that technology also taking care of unconscious bias and or gender neutrality that we need in the job descriptions in order to get better demographics?
Absolutely. It goes a lot further than that. So we have a job ad writer and we have a job ad checker.
Okay. Thank you.
Nathan, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Our next finalist, representing JobJet, is co-founder and VP of Marketing, Justin Dennis. Thank you, Justin. Clicker's just there. Yeah.
Could everybody hear me? It's been a while since I've been on stage repping the mic here. I'm Justin Dennis, JobJet. Are we going to play the video, please? Thank you. We're going to start with a customer testimony.
My name is John Harris. I've been using JobJet for a couple years now. The nice thing about the JobJet is anybody can be a good recruiter, knowing that you can find people's contact information and reaching out to them. Usually it's always my first choice to contact somebody via their personal email. With this tool here, it is actually a profile on someone's social identity out there on the internet, which is really great because now you can really understand your candidate, know a little bit more about them. Also, find out what their interests are. A lot of times the way you cater your external message, by the information that you find, you might then get a better return on someone replying to you because you're making a little bit more of a connection with that individual. It's easy to say good things about good products that, work and, make my job as a recruiter, easier.
So JobJet is the fastest source of accurate candidate data. We have an API solution that gives you access to over 330 million candidates, so you can discover personal email, social profiles, mobile phone numbers, and their work history. For our customers, their biggest problem is sourcing candidates. It's the #1 problem today. Surplus of jobs, competitive markets. I won't bore you with too many statistics, but it's competitive out there. But one of the things that we see the biggest issue with is that 1% of applicants are typically hired. So right now it costs $4,000 per job to hire one individual. You spend a majority of that on your head count or your job boards or your different programs, but at the end of the day, you get a 1% return. So that leaves about 99% of your applicants unmonetized. They're just sitting in your systems. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they are or how they can impact your company. And so what that brings to your recruiters is a constant need for accurate information from outside of their HR systems. So they search the web, they search social profiles, they go above and beyond. And so what we provide our customer base is access to this valuable external information in real time. And again, it's through an API solution as well as some SaaS tools, so you don't have to adopt our platform to plug us in. So typically this is what it looks like in a use case. You have an old resume. You have a ton of old resumes. And our program will understand the endpoints that we need to find, like name, location, past work experience, and education, and then programmatically create a real-time resume. So at any point, we can, with one click, it's not doing the animation, we can do one-click update job titles, locations. We can uncover new contact information to fill in the gaps, social media profiles, and then any skills or certifications that the applicant has picked up in the meantime. Again, this is an API suite. We do have some SaaS tools like a Chrome extension that allow any of your junior sourcers to quickly find information, make contact, or you can do bulk imports and upload CSV data or PDF files. In just a few weeks, we're rolling out our semantic search engine that will run through 330 million candidates. You can run Boolean searches, save filters, quickly uncover talent based on your job rec, but we'll also make suggestions, whether that's from your ATS or our database of candidates programmatically again. So we have just about a minute, still going through some of these product slides here. We also have a lightweight CRM that allow you to add some of that talent to a customizable pipeline if you're not using an ATS, and manage all of your conversation flow in between you and your potential candidates in one place. So thank you.
When you're doing this mass import from the various profiles that you can get using your search tool, do you have any way of ranking their potential interest? Because the big complaint that everyone has isn't the availability of information, it's actually slogging through. You know, you put a posting on Monster or LinkedIn, you get 1,000 candidates to have to go through and figure out who's good or bad. That's why so few are hired. So how do you distinguish that you just didn't import 30 million disinterested candidates?
They're not disinterested because they're from your system. So they've already shown you intent that they're interested in working for your company. Now, the first resume I sent out for my first job after school is not who I am now. And that's the key thing that we uncover, is that you will collect a candidate, but you may never go back to them. Instead, you pay to go to a job board to then collect 1% of that. And so what we will uncover, and especially in a competitive talent market, is that yes, these people are interested in working for your company, and now I can reach out to them based on the skills that they've gained over the last few years while they've sat in our system. So you can reach out to these individuals based on their current qualifications for any open jobs, understanding that they have an intent to work for your company, rather than what most sourcers are doing today is turning around to the web and finding anybody with a set of skills or a job title that may or may not be interested in that company at all.
So I'm getting the reuse of previously captured data, and I'm getting the hard document to electronic. Once it's electronic, what is the system doing to keep that fresh and updated, or are you requiring human to do that?
No, so it's programmatic. So every 30 days we can refresh an entire base of resumes on demand. Or the individual recruiter at any point can say, hey, what's this guy up to? A lot of our customers are in Silicon Bay area, and an engineer can move a job like every 6 months. So especially with millennials, we move jobs every year. That resume is out of date faster than you know.
So as a recruiter, I have all those resumes, now they're all updated, but I still have no idea if they're interested. So any intentions or any capabilities around the social listening, which is likelihood to switch job, likelihood to be interested again, call to action back to the candidates from that perspective, because I don't need 30 million candidate records updated again. I need the top 20,000 that I want to be able to take action on.
Yeah, and right now we are building a semantic search engine. We've been in market for about 2 quarters. But what we do know about social listening especially is our engineering team has already built and sold a social listening company. So we understand that method. What's more important is aggregating the data from a recruiter's perspective. What do they need to do, rather than is a company doing bad? Like, are these certificates or are these programs that I've completed on the web available to your recruiting staff?
We know that in this job category, average turnover is 24 months.
Right.
Can it elevate those candidate records back that they're coming up on 24 months?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And most of the matching stuff is very surface right now from a technology
I just have a little
perspective.
teeny question, or just more of a comment, but kind of like the same last presenter. I think when you're small, embrace being small and own something really big. And so, like, the thing that I thought the most intriguing thing you said was that you were really fast early on, that you had that speed to fill and you could react really quickly. Just from a presentation, I would just pick one or two of those attributes and just own those things and be known for that initially and then expand it. I don't want to like underplay your platform approach, but when you're little, you got to own something. And that resonated, and I think if you had built that out a little better, it would have come through a little better. I kind of got lost in the product.
Okay, thank you.
Justin, we're going to give you a reprieve now. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. So if the other contestants are listening to Bill's advice, it seems certainly to get Bill's vote, focus on one thing you own and do it really, really well. You'll leave a lasting memory with the audience and our panelist of judges. So our third contestant tonight is the VP Product with Achievers. Please put your hands together for Egan Chung. Mike's there, everyone, take it off. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Egan Chung. I'm the VP of Product at Achievers. We provide recognition and engagement software to a little over 1.5 million employees, to such global brands as Marriott, Ericsson, and CVS. Now, earlier today, Elliot, you mentioned that the number one thing that keeps CEOs up at night is people. And certainly I think that's the premise of a large part of what this conference is about. That's why the prominence of HR has risen in terms of driving business strategy. But why is this keeping CEOs up? So over the last 2 decades of building B2B software, I've had opportunity to meet with a lot of executives. And no matter what discipline, whether it's finance, HR, the CEO, I'm seeing an increasing trend in focus on customer experience. And that explains that's the underlying reason why there's an increased focus on employees. Because employees have the power to deliver those customer experiences, positive and negative. And so, what is required in this situation is employees that have a tight tie between their own values and that of the company that they work for. Very similar to what Shannon was talking about today in terms of purpose. Because these employees, think about the nurse on the hospital floor who has hundreds of customer interactions with patients per day. Think about the engineer who's working to build the product that your customers are going to interact with every day. Think about the person in accounts who essentially defines what it's like to do business with your company. Clearly, these people have the ability to make or break your business. And if you achieve this alignment, what you get is a team who's empowered to make decisions every day when they're faced with the decisions to improve that customer experience. And when you miss it, when you have misalignment, it can be extremely painful. Today, all of us are walking around with video cameras in our pockets, ready 24/7 to share. For instance, as we saw last month, negative customer experience boarding a plane. Within a few hours, that can be shared, a live video with everybody in my network, and within a few days, the CEO can be in front of the nation apologizing for a misalignment. And so, it's clear why the world's greatest companies do not leave this type of alignment to chance. And so Achievers is brought in to help with this in terms of gathering that alignment between employees and company values through recognition. Our friends at Korn Ferry have written research that shows, on top of other research, that shows recognition is the #1 driver of employee engagement. And so we've built a tool that allows for very easy interaction between employees to send the recognition that shows, hey, I saw that what you did is in keeping with my shared values and what I believe to be the shared values of everybody here at the company. Not only that, we can reward you for that. We can also help to celebrate your successes, both personal and professional. And we can also establish challenges so we can meet our shared goals to move us towards what the company wants us to achieve. So that's what we've built our business on. Some of the innovative things we're working on, though, is we recognize that those things are actually only a few prongs in what all of us use as an engagement strategy. We have other programs that we run. So we've opened up our API to integrate with those programs. So if you are running wellness challenges, if you are running learning management, let's say that nurse is working towards a new accreditation, if you are running referral programs, why not take all the work that these people are doing in other systems and bring those accomplishments into a common platform on which to recognize and reward that hard work? And finally, similar to what we were looking for with our friends from Lumess, we're working on conversational interfaces in order to enable employees to give feedback in real time to management and to HR about what's working and what's not. In terms of all these solutions we have to move the needle up, are we actually having the effect on engagement we want? In terms of a case study, I just want to bring up one of our customers, Rogers. They're the Canadian equivalent of Verizon. They've got about 17,000 employees in call centers across Canada. And they brought in Achievers to focus in on increasing customer satisfaction, reducing attrition, and increasing call center upsells. And by implementing our solutions in terms of peer-to-peer recognition, rewards, as well as challenges, they managed to double call center upsells. They managed to increase their Net Promoter Score from 7 to 48.
And that's time, Egan. Thank you. Keep hold of that. We're going to go to the judges. Any questions, judges?
Yeah, I honestly, and I just want to give you a quick feedback. I think this audience knows why recognition is important. You spend a lot of time on that. This is a technology competition. I don't feel like we really got to look at the technology. So I feel like there's a lot more to your system and its design that we could have heard.
I know you guys are, unlike the first two companies that presented that very small, you guys have raised over $50 million for Sequoia, very sophisticated. You had me on the edge of my seat when I thought you were going to kind of change the whole kind of rule book. For all of the recognition companies, I would ban the word recognition. I think it limits it. And that you started going about like kind of just more of a systemic change in the organization. And I think that's what people are seeking. Particularly this audience knows recognition, like Elliot said. Your opportunity is just to change the way people think about their workforce and how they engage it. And I think you were there and you weren't quite there. But for a product guy, I was expecting that from you. So
He was in a meeting where I told him they should say recognition and engagement, or they should stop talking about recognition, they should start talking about engagement.
Something like that. But nice. I hate the word. I hate the word.
Again, for those of you who still have to compete, more advice certainly on the recognition area, what you could do and could do well, could do differently up here as well. Just for the audience, by the way, those of you unfamiliar, there's a concept developed by a guy called Danny Kahneman about the peak end theory, which suggests for any event like this, you're going to remember the best and the last. So we drew the order in random this morning, and there are advantages to certain positions when you go along, but then again, our panelists are going to vote as they go along. You guys are probably going to fall prey to the peak end rule. So try and make sure if you find a company you're really loving, mark it down, remember that, and vote for that at the end. So next up is a company called Tex Recruit, and to present on behalf of Tex Recruit, we've got John Zub, a sales director. Thanks, John.
Thank you. So after roughly a decade in staffing, I can recall two blanket statements that I heard from almost every client. I needed this person yesterday, and I want more resumes faster. This is exactly why Tex Recruit exists. The time to hire was an all-time high in 2017. This is because the form of communication is starting to become archaic in what recruiters are utilizing. In 2008, the number of text messages started beating out the number of phone calls used in recruiting. The average time to fill is 52 days. This is costing organizations $160 billion. As I mentioned, the problem is communication. We're using archaic forms of communication such as phone calls and emails and even now LinkedIn messaging, which is becoming a little bit obsolete and redundant. And if you look across the board, it doesn't matter what demographic as far as age you're looking at, Messaging is outweighing how people are communicating with talent. So I'd ask 2 quick questions for a little bit participation here. Number 1, if you own a cell phone, please stand up. Judges, feel free to keep sitting. Please now, for those of you standing, if you have sent or received a text message during this conference today, continue standing. Thank you. The proof is in the pudding. Everyone is communicating through text messaging. There's no reason why, from a recruiting standpoint, we shouldn't be utilizing this. So there's a few reasons why. Number 1 is we've got a 100% open rate. It's nearly impossible to not open a text message which you receive. A higher response rate. Our clients are receiving a 37% response rate. The second is response time. Our clients are receiving 43% of their responses in under 20 minutes and 21% in under 2 minutes. This is a resounding increase from standard types of communication. And now we'll have one of our clients, third reason, AI and machine learning. We have partnered with IBM Watson to take some of the redundancy out of the initial communication from your sources and recruiters with top talent to allow for a more educated conversation when they do choose to engage on the phone. TextRecruit is a patented online platform that can integrate with both your ATS, CRM, or HCM. We yield a 100% open rate and average response time of 37% in under 12 minutes. We have auto-subscribe functionality built in for compliance, as well as cell phone verification to ensure you're delivering only messages to cell phones. We've got templates and policy performance tracking, as well as data analytics and reporting based on the messages being sent, the campaigns being sent out. We've got availability in over 200 countries worldwide. You can measure your click-throughs and engagement through the website and text. And we're built for your workflow. However you want to utilize text messaging within your recruitment lifecycle, you can use it, whether it's sourcing, onboarding, scheduling. There is a use for it. It now is a matter of time in how you choose to incorporate it. So with only a few moments left, I'd love for all of you to engage with how our product actually works. So if you have your cell phones out, feel free to text recruit to 85760 and let TextRecruit do the rest. Thank you.
Good job on the pitch. Very tight on the why you exist. Help me out a little on the what actually happens. So I understand the push out. So how you get out to someone looking. Once they click, are you still involved, or am I going to go right back into some other system besides yours?
So it's a two-way communication platform. It's a two-way communication platform that you can have direct engagement as well as attraction. So you can utilize our tool for a variety of different ways, but it is true engagement. So you, talent, me, recruiter, are having back and forth communication through text messaging. Our platform allows for that messaging to be sent out from either our web portal, a Chrome extension, or a web mobile app.
So a key difference between a stale email with 8 hours in between, I would make that more obvious in the pitch.
Joe, is there any other questions?
I thought it was good that you definitely got a second meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Chance to get it. Our next presenter is going to just get set up. Is that correct, Sharna? There you are. Oh, wonderful. So please do not start the clock for our next presenter just yet. Please just let her plug in there. So our next presenter is the Director of Customer Success for a company called Textio. Please put your hands together for Charna Parquet. Good to go?
Queuing that.
So we get a video feed.
It's something that is changing and evolving. I think Textio is challenging us to completely relaunch and relook at how we're writing our job descriptions as a whole. Everyone is looking at scores. Everyone wants to see us improve, right up to our CEO.
And I would say Textio was the fastest I have ever tried to see results. I was able to, in the trial, within 2 minutes, drop in one of my own job descriptions and see results.
Kind of brought the fun aspect of writing good job descriptions back for us, and I think it's been really great.
Great, and if we can switch to the HDMI on my computer, that would be wonderful. So hi, my name is Charna Parkey. I'm the Director of Customer Success at Textio. I was the 6th employee, and I have a PhD in digital signal processing. Textio is an augmented writing platform. And when we first started, we asked this question: what if every time you wrote something, you knew exactly who would respond? If you were writing an email, you know who replied positively. If you were writing a job posting, you know exactly who would reply. But now, imagine you knew why. Imagine how powerful that would be. If you knew what was going to happen and you knew why, you could change your approach before it's too late. And that's what augmented writing is. Writing backed by all the data so that every time you write something, you know exactly who's going to reply. Today, Textio is augmented writing for your hiring team. We collect more than 10 million new job posts every month with exactly who responded, how many people applied, how qualified were they, demographic information about that applicant pool. So Monica at NVIDIA, when she's trying to write a job description, she doesn't want to inadvertently affect those outcomes before she ever posts it. So I want to show you exactly what that looks like. So if I'm a recruiter, I log into Textio, this is it. I can see my document library, the first thing I see. As I scroll through, I would search for the type of job I wanted to write. So if it's a project manager role, I could find one that was started by my colleague. So you can see when I first open it up, I get a score, I get some highlights, I get some feedback. And when you hover over this score, it tells you that we predict that this listing will fill faster than 62% of similar listings. But similar is very important in this context, right? Because with over 100 million job descriptions and their results, and we get 10 million more per month, we need to know exactly what you're looking for, right? So if I go ahead and set project management for this role, my score is going to change. This is specific, right? And when I scroll down and I hover over this orange phrase, this phrase is statistically decreasing the proportion of qualified applicants attracted to this role. And instead of using broad knowledge and I say broad understanding, my score is going to go up. But we don't just tell you what's wrong, we tell you what's right. So when you scroll down and you hover over a green phrase, these phrases are positively impacting your applicant pool, attracting more qualified people, filling your roles faster. Now the phrase "we're just getting started" seems very innocuous, but backed by the data that's real time, you can know that it's working today. But it's not just about the performance, it's also about diversity. So these blue phrases and purple phrases statistically increase the proportion of men or women who apply. None of these are opinions based. So instead of using killer and I wanted to be more neutral, I could say awesome instead. And it's not just about the phrases, it's about everything else about your writing. It's about the active voice, the passive voice, etc. But what does it mean to get a high Textio score, right? What is it actually doing for Monica and NVIDIA? We see 25% more qualified applicants applying, 23% more women apply, 12% more underrepresented groups. And because of those two things, more qualified people and more diverse applicant pool, you fill your roles faster. But it's not just NVIDIA. This is across all of our customers. And we're the only platform that makes a quantitative promise of how your hiring will improve. So this is a sample set of our enterprise deployments today. On here, you'll see big tech companies like Apple, but also financial firms like Bloomberg, manufacturing like Daimler, national labs like Lawrence Livermore. And all of these people at all of these organizations put this in the hands of every single person who's writing, who cares about their hiring managers, their recruiters, every single person. And it's all around the world. This is a 24-hour sample set of our user data, where people are actually writing in Textio today and getting the results, impacting millions of lives. Now, it works currently for English, but like I said, it's not just about the entire world and what you're comparing yourself to globally. It's specific to your job type, specific to your location, specific to your industry. And because we collect this data continuously from all of our customers, we know exactly who's going to respond every time you write something. Thank you.
All right, first of all, Dr. Parker, you're probably too smart for our audience, so. But I do want to ask you, both Bill and I had one question that's the same, but I'll let you ask that one. You referenced the Wall of Pride slide and said these are our appointments. Okay, are they clients or the current clients, that list of logos?
Yes,
that are using
clients.
Textio?
Using
Okay.
Textio today.
All right, thank you.
And it's only a subset. We have more than that. Those are just sort of cross-section of size and industry and global nature. We've got companies outside of the United States like Credit Suisse that are headquartered elsewhere as well. So it's not just small deployments. These are enterprise-wide.
Your use of the word appointments brought my interest level down. I just want to tell you for the next time that your machine generates the presentation.
Ellie and I were just saying, well, very nicely done.
Thank you.
It seemed like, and again, a short time period, but you spent a lot of time on one half of the equation, and you said the validation of this was, in one example, more candidates, and you quanted that. I think, can you give a little bit more in terms of how you would validate that, and how far over do you go? Do you go into kind of more even that placement kind of implications? I mean, it seems like you kind of told half the story.
Yeah, so great question. So the data is verified directly with our customers. Our pricing model is different than anything you've seen before. Our customers are data exchange partners. They provided data back into the system every single quarter. And everything that they measure is what we measure. So if I'm looking at Johnson & Johnson's data, they export globally everything in their applicant tracking system, including if they want to track retention as well. So it depends on the size of the company what we can actually measure. But the results aren't more people, it's more qualified people. So after they get past that screening point, not just attracting more people. In fact, sometimes you attract less, but you get more of the right people.
Yeah. So distribution feedback is how you get some feedback. You know,
Yeah.
I would say though, think through like the early days of job boards when they started really scientifically making that registration path and the data you get from that. If you start to own that, it might be a channel conflict a little bit, but that could be really golden.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if presidential nominees in the US are using Textio to write speeches. That might be something interesting. We'll drop that. We had that in Edinburgh. We won't go there again. Not this time. So guys, we have had 5 of our 8. Please put your hands together for our 6th finalist from Rideau, CEO Peter Hart.
Thanks, Johnny. This is the clicker here?
Yeah, green button.
Green button. A bit colorblind, sorry. So, 3 years ago, Rainier Strack, the head of Boston Consulting Group's global HR practice, did a worldwide survey on the global talent crisis. He looked at 200,000 millennials and what they were looking for at work. And he found number 8 was pay. Number 4 was good relationships with your superior. Number 3, good work-life balance. Number 2, good relationship with your colleagues. Number 1 was feeling valued and appreciated for your work. But therein lies a broken promise. 90% of organizations in North America have these programs. Yet, according to the Gallup organization, over 60% of employees don't feel valued and appreciated. Quite frankly, if we were a licensed profession, I think a lot of providers would be up on malpractice charges, to be frank. Why? It's because we've made it all about trying to deliver a better mousetrap that delivers points, award vouchers that lead to tangible rewards. We haven't really looked at what this is all about. It's delivering real recognition. And that's what our clients want to know about, is what are these programs doing to their KPIs, to their engagement? And that's where our patent-pending Vistance Analytics solution comes into play. What we're doing is taking all of the recognition data that these programs spin off. We put it into a data warehouse, and what we do is we combine that with ongoing employee pulse surveys to give us an RQ score. The RQ score is the IQ of recognition. That's correlated to the organization's KPIs, sales, engagement, turnover, etc. And it gives us actionable insights that can make a difference. The RQ score, as I said, has two components, the manager's output and it has the employee's perception. It's like a FICO score, and we can measure incremental improvement, and managers can actually see where they rank against other managers in the organization. Why is this important? Because after 10 years of research, clinical studies, pilots, and now implementations, we know that managers in the top quartile of RQ scores have statistically significant better results. Their teams sell over 7% more. They're 6% more productive. They're 4% more engaged. So how do you improve your RQ score? What we do is we serve online recognition assessments to managers. Then what we do is our algorithm serves up prescriptive educational modules around recognition, around engagement, that are all designed to improve that RQ score and the organization's KPIs. We know that more recognition, understanding of how it works, leads to better results. This is a year-over-year survey, or results on customer loyalty. 4% of difference, all right, for managers that take more and more recognition, understand how to do it. Here's what a client says about it.
But I think it's now the next wave is training the managers. It's clicking the managers into this is a critical business tool to help you achieve whatever the results are you're aiming at. You know, we're spending millions, what's the ROI, what's the ROI? And what we started to see when we started doing some of the analytics was the cream rising to the top. And I think a lot of us that have been in the role for a while or been in the field for a while always knew that, or we always felt that. But having some analytics to finally present to senior management was the real change for us. And going, performance management is not just about the balance sheet, there's more.
As a matter of interest, RBC last month won RPI, Recognition Professional International's overall Best Practice Award. So coming back to Rainier Strack, he looked at the workforce in 2030. And by all those boxes in the red on the right-hand side indicate countries that are going to have a deficit of workers to open positions after factoring in immigration, AI, technology. So it's incumbent upon us, to create cultures that attract, retain, and engage employees. Our solution is designed to do just that. Thank you very much.
Wow, when we make you be concise, you're actually better, so I'll say that much.
Over, all right.
All right, so, you know, the whole issue with Vistance, and you tied it back nicely into business outcomes. So are you seeing at RBC, you know, which won the RPI award, that they are actually using social recognition much more than the old financial reward system and getting better results through that
Absolutely. Our whole industry has been built on rewards. And we know from our research that you don't necessarily have to spend as much money on rewards. Spend more money educating managers how to get this right, and what's going to happen is that you're going to have better results. And we know that certain outcomes, one of them being, customer loyalty, You're better off, okay, praising people with words rather than giving them points and monetary pieces.
Is there a solution in the middle to solve the adoption problem? I understand the solution design on the front end. I understand the analytics on the back end to figure out if there's an ROI for my dollars spent on the product. My organization, as an example, has a problem in the middle, which is we've got the tool, you can use it, but people don't use it.
So I think that the biggest compliment we've had on Vistance came from a client after 1 year, and they're looking at it right at the top of the house, and the person said, this is not about recognition rewards anymore. This is about performance management. And we're looking at taking this and taking it out of the recognition group and putting it into the performance management people and making this mandatory. It's no longer an option. So all those people in the middle, we're looking to move the dials on all of those folks.
Peter, thank you.
Thank you.
I have my own clock I have to keep to for Zachary or I get into trouble. We have 2 more finalists. Please put your hands together for our penultimate finalist, Jim Schroeder, Marketing Director of Online Rewards.
Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? I have a video to queue up for you all, and I'll kind of talk you through what we do. I'm Jim Schroeder. I'm from Online Rewards. We build employee reward and recognition programs. How many of you know someone like Sophie here, an HR leader at a small business looking to motivate and engage her employees? Last year, we decided to help people like Sophie create exciting, engaging employee reward programs on a limited budget. MyPoint Rewards came out of that challenge. MyPoint Rewards is a solution that allows small to medium-sized businesses to quickly, simply, and efficiently create powerful employee reward programs with many of the same features that employee reward programs at larger corporations also have. And I'm going to walk you through some of that today. So I'm going to show you the 3 steps to set up a program like this. Say I work for a company like, or an organization like HRO Today. The first thing I need to do is create an identifiable brand experience for my employees. Now, theoretically, I'm in HR, so I don't have a graphic design background, even though I took that one painting elective class my first year of college. However, it's really simple for me to go in and add in my logo, add in all of my imagery, change the colors, and see what it looks like on mobile, and quickly set up this program, because I may be the only person who is dedicated to this because we're a small business. So I set that program up, or I set up the front end branding, and then the next thing I need to do is make sure that my program has consistent messaging across. So I navigate over to the content section. Here I can edit the login screen, the home page, the about page, and I can also push blog style content to my employees to let them know anytime there's an update in the program, or to tell them what the program is specifically about, whether it's sales incentives, wellness, or whatever they want to reward for. The next thing I need to do is actually get my employees into the system. So it's as simple as adding them by importing a list. There's a template if I've never done this before. Then I need to decide who I'm going to distribute points to and what for. I can either do this in bulk or individually for on-the-spot type awards. I'll include personalized messages when I'm rewarding my employees so they know specifically what they're getting points for, and I'll also see how that's equating to a dollar amount so I'm staying within the budget that I've assigned for this. Now for the important part, how is the employee going to perceive this? How will the employee experience this reward process? Will they be engaged as Sophie intended for them to be? So first, all of my actions will have triggered a welcome email to them where they will be able to quickly create an account using the information, using their company email address, create a password, and all that fun stuff, as you would set up any account in any type of program like this. And then they'll navigate to the home page of the program, where they will see a personalized feed of all the rewards they've received, the points, and messages specifically what those points were for. And now for the fun part, they get to shop, and they get to use those points for whatever they want to pursue. Now, there are thousands and thousands of items in this catalog. I'm really interested in taking a look at this wearable right now. I don't quite have enough points for it yet, so I'm going to add it to my wish list and use that as a goal. Now, we're in the Midwest, and I want to take my family to a fancy dinner, so I'll get an Applebee's card. And I do have enough points for that. So I'll go ahead and get that Applebee's card, check out, and because it's a digital card, I can use it immediately and take my family out to dinner that night. And while we're at dinner, we're thinking about how my company afforded us this opportunity to have a nice Applebee's dinner. So the program also works really well on mobile, so employees can access their points, their program on the go. And we believe that My Point Rewards has achieved the goal of allowing small to medium-sized businesses to quickly, simply, and efficiently create a powerful employee rewards program. Thank you.
Judges.
Very much came across as the SMB pitch, got that. Online, quick, got that. How do you power the entire back end? You know, are you a fulfillment company? Are you just a software company? Tell me about that.
So at Online Rewards, our specialty is really building full-service custom programs for large corporations. But we had a lot of people coming to us that were kind of in that in-between phase where we have a solution that's for even smaller companies in this, but they couldn't quite do a custom program with us, but then they couldn't really do something really low end too. So this is kind of our solution for those small to medium-sized businesses that really need something turnkey that they can do quickly at a more affordable price than our custom programs.
Judges? If I can ask one follow-up. So the answer to the question, is it fulfillment or software?
Oh, we're a fulfillment and a software company. We don't warehouse any items or anything. We have a huge network of, we have hundreds and hundreds of suppliers and thousands of items in our catalog, but it's a dynamic catalog. We're managing, we're drop shipping things. Yes, we're not warehousing items or anything like that. We partner with branded merchandise companies, that sort of thing. But yeah, we're definitely a software company.
Yeah, just very quickly, you know, we heard a little bit of data, and there's a lot of thinking now about the power of social recognition and interpersonal relationships. Sure. Recognize this is online. But is there any solution that you have for small companies that want to get that social recognition piece beyond the opportunity to send a personalized message? Is this purely a rewards program addressing it, purely looking at the rewards fulfillment piece?
Sure. So this, as you said, is purely a rewards program, manager to employee, recognizing them for doing a good job. We are working on some different, more social reward type, recognition type platforms, but not specifically in this program, no.
So the comment I'd make is there's never been a successful SMB play in any end market without a real sophisticated kind of sourcing distribution channel. So I would hit that up and bring that up and figure that out. So from an investment perspective, I'd be really keenly interested on that cost of acquisition of clients. And then second, I'd say I just bought that Applebee's card for my Midwest parents the other day, so you hit that right on the head.
Yep, it was a Ricky Bobby joke.
Thank you, Jim. We're going to plow on with our final contestant. Please put your warm and thirsty mouths and hands together. We're going to get to drinks and our reception quite soon, but our last contestant is Christina Glynn, Director of Product and Solution Management with Moritz.
Thanks so much. Let's get the clicker here and get us to happy hour. So my name's Christina Glenn, and as the Product Director for Culture Next, I'm thrilled to represent our solution here at the iTalent competition. The problem many organizations face today is that 71% of employees are disengaged, and this is costing us hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Yet, even as the industry is flooded with specialized engagement platforms, these stats really aren't getting any better. In an increasingly diverse workforce, how do you build engagement to improve employee satisfaction, productivity, and keep your most valued employees? The solution is Culture Next. It's a social employee engagement platform that strengthens the weak areas of your engagement strategy with communication, socialization, and reinforcement of your strategic initiatives. So let me tell you how. On our SaaS-based, global, and mobile-optimized platform, your employees get exposure to all the amazing work happening in your company, and they get a sense for how they can contribute and be rewarded. This experience is configured through easy-to-use administration tools that consolidate all your engagement initiatives into a collection of programs that go beyond reward and recognition into metric-based performance, incentives, wellness, feedback and coaching, learning, and communications. Each of your employees access a dynamic display of programs based on who they are and where they sit in your company. And dedicated program pages provide information like rules, reward opportunities, and even goal tracking, which we'll see more of in a moment. The benefit? A consolidated engagement experience that allows your employees to easily understand information about your strategic initiatives via dynamic, eligibility-driven displays. Personalization allows your employees to engage on their terms with notifications, privacy and sharing preferences, and recognition and communication preferences as well. The social experience magnifies the impact of individual and team achievement with tools like liking, commenting, networks, and calendar-based events. And consolidated reporting provides a holistic view of your engagement initiatives to manage activity and spend in a single place. So now I'd like to introduce Cami Miller from KeyBank to share how Culture Next is working there.
Programs running our Culture Next at KeyBank. We have a top recognition program that goes through there. We have various programs like Branch Appreciation Week. We have contests. And then just general peer-to-peer recognition and manager peer recognition. When we turned the switch on in May 2016, we saw recognition numbers hitting larger than we had seen year to date. This has been a banner year in the program. Our numbers are double what they were last year.
That's all for the videos, I promise. In addition to a culture of engagement, KeyBank is also actively building a culture of performance, because our platform truly comes alive when we can connect it to the tangible results impacting your organization. Recall that 71% of employees are disengaged. Consider the devastating impact this has on your customer experience. So much so that while 80% of companies claim a great customer experience, only 8% of their customers agree. And many customers bail on a transaction because of a poor experience. Much of this is because your employees don't have the kind of feedback that they need to make meaningful changes to how they interact with your employees. Culture Next addresses this by allowing your employees to track customer feedback data. We display an overall satisfaction metric using real-time data and compare that to a goal. To help your employees achieve their goal, the same feedback data identifies which aspect of the customer experience is the weakest, so your employees know where to focus their attention. Finally, the platform also supports coaching related to each aspect of the experience, so your employees know how to deliver on your brand promise and get back on track. As a result, your customers have a greater level of insight to the specific ways in which they can improve the customer experience. So your customer satisfaction improves, which drives directly to your bottom line. And finally, the way your employees interact improves to build that culture. That's Culture Next, connecting people to purpose.
Bang on 5 minutes. Well done, Katrina. Any questions, judges?
So best part was right in the closing. So the question is whether you want it in the closing or flip it. In connecting back, getting the employees to drive the customer experience, bringing it back around full circle to drive to the ROI.
Right.
So just in the delivery, that's unique relative to some of the other pitches. Make it strong throughout.
Awesome.
So we talk a lot about employees, but we're moving into a total talent workforce regardless of employee status or not. Eligibility to also do this with contractors, contingent, variable workforce.
Yeah, as long as we can get those employees into the Culture Next database, and we do that today with lots of clients. You put your contractors, your freelancers. If they're stored in any kind of HRIS you have in your system, it's fine.
All right, so the question I had, there was a lot going on there, right? So this is a pretty comprehensive platform in some respects, but then you said getting, all of your engagement processes together. Can you give us a little more information? I mean, is this house survey data that can show you how managers are doing, and with the customer sat data? How many components are in this platform? Because I didn't get a good feeling for what you meant when you said it houses all your engagement activities. Because there's a lot of different engagement activities in any company.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So we're focusing first and foremost on the communication and socialization and reinforcement of those strategies. So we do have the ability to support engagement surveys, but there's a lot of those kinds of companies out there, and we've had a lot of conversation about how frequently you survey and so on. Where Culture Next comes in is what you do to address what you find in those surveys and the specific strategies you're going to go about to improve innovation and referrals and all of these kinds of things. So it's communication, that there are programs available, and you use Culture Next to facilitate reward issuance, and they obviously can redeem rewards through our merchandise catalog.
I liked your presentation.
Thank you.
I think, and I'm just more of a comment what I was left with. I like that you were really talking about the future desired state of the organization. And
awesome.
I think you should run with that really hard, because I think, and we mentioned this earlier, and I think Peter did a pretty good job on the prior one about you really belong in performance, but it's equally assessment and kind of analytics as well.
Yes.
And I think that's a much better way to define your business model, and I think you did a pretty nice job at that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Folks, so they are our 8 finalists. Now, I want everyone who has a phone to stand up. No, I don't, right? We did that. We're not going to ask you again, but I would like you to take out your phone or your laptop or your tablet. Open up Twitter. I want you to go to your Twitter account. This is your time to vote. So it's really simple. All you got to do is tweet and mention at HRO Today somewhere in your tweet, along with the name of the finalist you want to vote for. If you don't have a Twitter account, please ask the person beside you to send your vote, okay? I'm going to give you a quick run through of the finalists again, but just to remind you, it's just tweet at HRO Today. Bill is going to furiously count them up, put them in with the votes of our judges, and we'll get our results in the next few minutes. So up first, if you remember, we had Mighty Recruiter. So Mighty Recruiter. We had Nathan, who talked about how Mighty Recruiter system was able to enable you to distribute your jobs on multiple platforms, and there's AI built into that as well. Up second, we had Justin from JobJet. Justin was talking about the JobJet technology, how you could basically search this 330 million size database with social profiles, and you could update and freshen up your existing database with more live data and bring it into your systems. That was JobJet. Number 3, we had Achievers. We had Egan, who was talking about, again, recognition tools without a deck. A brave decision to get up and not show the tech, but to talk about what it really meant. And Egan talked about the Achievers solution and gave us an example of the 1.5 million employees that are currently using their systems as well to date, and how they're working with a bunch of customers. That's Achievers. Number 4, we had John from Text Recruit, and John was talking about how he's the guy who made you stand up, and talked about text messaging being built into your ATS and CRM and on the browser, and how you could integrate and get much faster results when you're sourcing or recruiting teams are engaging with talent. That was Text Recruit. Up fifth, we had Charna from Textio, who showed us their technology with machine learning that enabled real-time feedback on any text, whether it be a job ad or an email draft or a presidential speech. That could teach you in real time how to correct that and improve the score of that to make it more relevant to drive better applications and better results in your system. That was Textio. Sixth up, we had Peter from Rideau, and Peter gave us a run-through of Rideau's solution and a case study video example of how they're working with customers around, again, employee engagement and trying to get that feedback, and the Rideau solution, how they take a different angle, a different approach on that as well. Up seventh and penultimate, we had Jim from Online Rewards, who talked about how they're addressing the SMB market and the fulfillment versus software questions around their product and how it enables small to medium-sized enterprises get an online recognition system up off the ground really super quick and deliver that manager to employee feedback, focusing on that particular niche within that sector. And last, we had Christina from Maritz talking about their wider solution and how they work with their customers in driving not just measurements of recognition, the ability to recognize, but the what you do next once you have that data and being able to fulfill that software. So those organizations were Mighty Recruiter, JobJet, Achievers, TextRecruit, Textio, Rideau, Online Rewards, and Maritz. Everyone get their votes in? And we got Bill doing his tally in behind closed doors to see who our winner is today. So it's hard work, guys, getting up here, and even with the best products in the world. And I've come across many of these organizations before, and you can talk to them one-on-one, and you may get a very different impression when you hear the pitch. It is difficult to get up here and speak for only 5 minutes or less and try and get it all in with judges staring at you with a crowd of your peers as well. So could you please just put your hands together for our 8 finalists? It's a super job. It's a lot of pressure, but that pressure has resulted in a winner. So if you recall, we had 2 categories, and the categories were talent acquisition, and we had a category of recognition and rewards. Now, I didn't ask you to separate your votes. I asked you to vote for the best organization on the different criteria earlier on. But we are going to present 2 prizes tonight because we had 2 different categories, 4 in the recognition and reward space and 4 in the talent acquisition space. So I'm going to first of all announce our winner for the 2017 HRO Forum on the Reward and Recognition Prize. The 2017 North America winner is Rideau. Peter. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Johnny.
Awesome job. We're going to get photos with Peter now in a second.
Now or after?
We're going to after, I think. But thank you. And Peter, for those of you who follow the global events, also won an award in EMEA in Edinburgh back in November as well. So congratulations on that second award. And then in the talent acquisition space, again, 4 super interesting businesses, I think all of whom are not only proving themselves to be super successful right now with lots of great customers and will no doubt go on to be super successful, but we can only have one winner tonight, and that winner, as Elliot pointed out, may be smarter than us all, and that is Textio. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'll walk you over here to get your prize. Come over here. Which is awesome. So we might both grab your prizes and come back up on stage. That'd be most welcome. So you guys want to come back on stage? We're going to need a quick photograph. You're going to come back on here. And guys, 2 fantastic organizations. Again, Rideau, I had the pleasure of meeting last year in Edinburgh, and Textio I first saw at the Talent 42 conference a couple of years ago as well, in a more basic level, and it's come on hugely as well. So fantastic to see those 2 businesses doing so well. So we're going to do a quick photograph. So this is your tweetable moment if you have your cameras and photographs. And we're going to just focus on the back here. Cheesy grins, smiles. Awesome, we've got that. Guys, congratulations. Thank you.